Please say Namo Tassa 3 times to observe 5 precepts. Children, put your hand, keep your hand, say Namo Tassa 3 times. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami, Tutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami, Tutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami, Adinnādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami, Kāmesu miccācārā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami, Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami, Surameraya majjapamā daṭṭhānā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami, තිසරණේන සද්ධින් පංචසීලං ධම්මං සාදුකං සුරක්ඛිතං කତ୍වා අප්පමාදේන සම්පාදේ තබ්බං. Most Venerable Kondanya Hamdru and all the other members of the Sangha, dear children, and all the devotees, New York Buddhist Vihara and also Connecticut Buddhist Vihara, all you are connecting and joining with us in this evening, having a special reason. As normally every year we did, for blessing ceremony for the school new term for children. This ceremony is organizing and also sponsoring New York Buddhist Vihara Dhamma School children and teachers and parents, and also youth society that connecting with our temple, those members and also their parents, and also Connecticut Buddhist Vihara devotees and Dhamma School children and parents. You are supporting and also participating for this blessing ceremony. First, I would like to welcome and also bestow our veneration toward Kondanya Hamdru. He came here by accepting our invitation to give a special Dhamma talk and advice for this blessing ceremony. Now you observed 5 precepts and been on the virtuous ground. Now we are going to dedicate these flowers, candlelights and incense sticks to the Buddha, recalling Buddha's good virtuosities. Being on the virtuous ground, you are performing this offering ceremony. When we do any kind of meritorious deed, we can acquire merits. Merits mean wholesome thoughts. We will wish by the power of these merits, may all the deities who protect this world, may all your and our departed relatives, including fathers, mothers and forefathers and ancestors, and all living beings be well, happy and peace. May all living beings attain ultimate bliss of Nibbana. Having that aspiration, please join us to recite these stanzas. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Itipiso bhagavāraham samma sambuddho vijja charana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarati sattha deva manussanam buddho bhagavati. Buddhaṃ jīvita pariyantaṃ saranam gacchāmi. Buddhaṃ jīvitaṃ yāva nibbānaṃ saranam gacchāmi. Eca buddhāti tāca අනාගතා පච්චුප්පන්නාච ඒ බුද්ධා අහං වන්දාමි සබ්බදා නත්ති මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං බුද්ධෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන මංගලං උත්තමංගේන වන්දේහං පාදපං සුවරුත්තමං බුද්දේයෝ කලිතෝ දෝසෝ බුද්ධෝ කමතු ධම්මමං ස්වාක්ඛාතෝ භගවතා ධම්මෝ සම්දිට්ඨිකෝ අකාලිකෝ ඒහි පස්සිකෝ ඕපනයිකෝ පච්චත්තං වේදිතක්කෝ විඤ්ඤුයිති සුපටිපන්නෝ ධම්මං ජීවිත ප්‍රියන්තං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි මාතිතාච ඒච ධම්මානාගතා පච්චුප්පන්නාච ධම්මා අහං වන්දාමි සබ්බදා නත්ති මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං ධම්මෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතුනෝ ජය මංගලං උත්තමංගේන වන්දේහං ධම්මං ත්‍රිවිධං වරං ධම්මේයෝ කලිතෝ දෝසෝ ධම්මෝ කමතු ධම්මමං සුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ උජ්ජපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ ඥායපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ සාමීචි පටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ දං චත්තාරි පුරිස යුගානි අට්ඨ පුරිස පුග්ගලායේස භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ ආහුනේයෝ පාහුනේයෝ දක්ඛිනේයෝ අංජලි කරණීයෝ අනුත්තරං පුඤ්ඤක්ඛෙත්තං ලෝකස්සාති සංඝං ජීවිත පරියන්තං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි සංඝං ජීවිතං යාව නිබ්බානං සරණං ගච්ඡාමි ඒච සංඝා අතීතාච ඒච සංඝා අනාගතා පච්චුප්පන්නාච ඒ සංඝා අහං වන්දාමි සබ්බදා නත්ති මේ සරණං අඤ්ඤං සංඝෝ මේ සරණං වරං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන හෝතු නෝ ජය මංගලං උත්තමංගේන වන්දේහං සංඝං ච ත්‍රිවිධෝත්තමං සංඝේයෝ කලිතෝ දෝසෝ සංඝෝ කමතු ධම්මමං ඝනසාරප්පදිත්තේන දීපේන තමදං සිනාති ලෝක දීපං සම්බුද්ධං පූජයාමි තමුනුදං ගන්ධ සම්භාර යුත්තේන දූපේනාහං සුගන්ධිනා පූජයේ පූජනීයං තං පූජාවාදන මුත්තමං වන්න ගන්ධ ගුණෝපේතං ඒතං කුසුම සංතතින් පූජයාමි මුනින්දස්ස සිරිපාද සහෝරේ පූජේමි බුද්ධං කුසුමේන නේන පුඤ්ඤේන මේතේන ච හෝතු මොක්ඛං පුප්පං මිලායාති යතායි ධම්මේ කායෝ තථායාති විනාශ භාවං අනන්ත ඥානෝ විමලෝ දක්ඛිනේයෝ ගුණාකරෝ පටිගන්හාතු භගවා දක්ඛිනෝදක උත්තමං අධිවාසේතු නොභන්තේ තච්ඡං පරිකප්පිතං අනුකම්පං උපාදාය පටිගන්හාතු උත්තමං adhivasetu no bante vesajjang parikappitang anukampang
උපාදාය
patiganhatu uttamang adhivasetu no bante vesajjang parikappitang anukampang upadaya
පටිගන්නාතු
natu uttamang sugandhang sitalang kappang pasanna madurang subhang paniya metam bhagava
පටිගන්නාතු
natu uttamang vandami cetiyang sabbang sabbthānesu patittitang sāririka dhātu
මහාබෝධින්
buddha rupang sakalang sada yassa mule nisinnova sabbari vijayannaka patto sabbang
යුතං සත්තා
vande tang bodhipadapam ime ete mahabodhi lokanatena pujitang aham pite namassami
බෝධිරාජා
namattute kāyena vācā cittena pamadena maya katang accayaṃ kamami bhante
පුරි පඤ්ඤ තථාගත
kāyena vācā cittena pamadena maya katang accayaṃ kamami dhamma saṅdittika akālika kāyena vācā cittena pamadena maya katang accayaṃ kamami saṅgha
සුපටිපන්න
anuttara ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤං තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං
රක්ඛන්තු ලෝක
සාසනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤං තං අනුමෝදිත්වා
චිරං රක්ඛන්තු
ලෝක සාසනං ආකාසට්ඨා ච බුම්මට්ඨා දේවානාගා මහිද්దికා පුඤ්ඤන්තං අනුමෝදිත්වා චිරං රක්ඛන්තු ලෝක සාසනං ඉදම්මේ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ ඉදම්මේ ඥාතිනං හෝතු
සුඛිතා හොන්තු
ඥාතයෝ ඉදම්මේ ඥාතිනං හෝතු සුඛිතා හොන්තු ඥාතයෝ දේවෝ වස්සතු කාලේන සස්ස සම්පත්ති හෝතු ච පීතෝ
භවතු
ලෝකෝ ච රාජා භවතු ධම්මිකෝ ඉමිනා පුඤ්ඤ කම්මේන මාමේ බාල සමාගමෝ සතං
සමාගමෝ හෝතු
යාව නිබ්බාන පත්තියා ඉදම්මේ පුඤ්ඤං ආසවක්ඛයා වහං හෝතු සබ්බ දුක්ඛා පමුඤ්චතු Dear children and parents, now we monks are going to bless you by chanting. We are going to chant Ratana Sutta, Jewel Sutta. While we are chanting stanzas by stanzas, we are wishing by the power of Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, may you be well, happy and peace. And may you have courage, patience, understanding and determination to overcome any kind of problems. And also you may have courage and strength, physical and mentally, to do your school works and to achieve higher level. And may all beings be well, happy and peace. Having that aspiration, please listen to the chanting. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Itipiso bhagavang arahang samma sambuddho vijjācarana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sārati sattā deva manussanam buddho bhagavāti svakkāto bhagavata dhammo saṅdeteko akāliko ඕපනයිකෝ පච්චත්තං වේදිතබ්බෝ විඤ්ඤෝයේතේ දුපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ උජ්ජපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ ඥායපටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ සාමීචි පටිපන්නෝ භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ යතිදං චත්තාරි පුරිස යුගානි අට්ඨ පුරිස පුග්ගලායේස භගවතෝ සාවක සංඝෝ පාහුනේයෝ දක්ඛිනේයෝ අංජලි කරණීයෝ අනුත්තරං පුඤ්ඤක්ඛෙත්තං ලෝකස්සාති තේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන පාතු තං රතනත්තයං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන පාතු තං රතනත්තයං ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන පාතු තං රතනත්තයං යානීද භූතානි සමාගතානි බුම්මානි වායානි වං තලික්කේ සබ්බේව භූතා කුණනා භවන්තු අතෝ සක්කච්ච දුනන්තු බාධිතං ධම්මාහි භූතානි සාමේත සබ්බේ මෙත්තං කරෝත මානුෂියා පජාය දිවාච රත්තෝච හරංචේ බලින් ධම්මාහි නිරක්ඛත අප්පමත්තායං කිංච වෙත්තං ඉදවාහුරං වාසග්ගේ සුවායං රතනං පනීතං නනෝ සමං අත්ති තථාගතේන ඉදං විබුද්ධේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු පයං විරාගං අමතං පනීතං යදජ්ජගා සක්්‍ය මුනි සමාහිතෝ නතේන ධම්මේන සමක්ඛි කිංචේ ධම්පි ධම්මේ රතනම් පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යං බුද්ධ සෙට්ඨෝ පරිවංනයේ සුචින් සමාධිමානං සමාධිනාතේන සමුන විජ්ජති ධම්පි ධම්මේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යේ පුග්ගලා අට්ඨ සතං පසත්තා චත්තාරි ඒතානි යුගානි යොන්තේ තේ දක්ඛිනේයා සුගතස්ස ශාවකායේ තේසු දින්නානි මහප්පලානි ධම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්ති හෝතු යේ සුප්පයුත්තා මනසාදල්ලේන නික්ඛාමිනෝ ගෝතම සාසනම්
තේ පත්තිපත්තා
අමතං විගය ලද්දා මුදා නිබ්බුතෙන් බොංජමානායි දම්පි සංඝේ රතනං
පනීතං
ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්තියෝතු යතෙන්ද ගීලෝ පඨවිං සතෝතියා චතුබ්බිවාතේ බියසම්පකම්පියෝ තතුපමං සප්පුරිසං
වදාමියෝ අරිය
සච්චානි අවෙච්ච පස්සති දම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන
සච්චේන
සුවත්තියෝතු යෙන් අරිය සච්චානි විභාවයං තේ ගංගේර පඤ්ඤේන සුදේසිතානි කිං චාපිතේ
හොන්ති පුසප්පමත්තානතේ
භවං අට්ඨමං ආදියං දම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්තියෝතු දහවස්ස දස්සන සම්පදාය දයත්තු ධම්මා ජනිතා භවං තේ දක්කාය දිට්ඨි
විචිකිච්ඡිතං ච සීලං
වතං වාපි අදත්තිකින් චේතෝ පායේ ච විප්පමුත්තෝ චාපිතානානි අබබ්බෝ පාතුං ඉදම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං
ඒතේන
සච්චේන සුවත්තියෝතු කිං චාපි සෝකං වං කරෝති පාපකං කායේන වාචා උදචේතසා වා බබ්බෝ සෝතස්ස
පටිච්චාදාය
අබබ්බතා දිච්ඡ පදස්ස බුත්තායි දම්පි සංඝේ රතනං පනීතං ඒතේන
සච්චේන
සුවත්තියෝතු අනප්පගුම්බේ අථා පුස්සෙතග්ගේ
නිම්මානමෝසේ පඨමස්මි
මිංගිම් හේතතුපමං ධම්ම වරං අදේසයි නිබ්බාන ගාමින් පරමං විතාය ඉදම්පි බුද්දේ
රතනං පනීතං
තේන සච්චේන සුවත්තියෝතු අරෝ වරඤ්ඤෝ වරදෝ වරහරෝ අනුත්තරෝ ධම්ම වරං අදේසයිදං බුද්දේ රතනං
පනීතං
ඒතේන සච්චේන සුවත්තියෝතු ඝේනං පුරාණං නවං නත්ති සංභවං විරත්ත චිත්තා ආයතිකේ
බවක්මින් තේ කීන
බීජං අවිරෝච්ඡං දානිබ්බන්ති ධීරායතායම් පදීපෝ ඉදම්පි සංඝේ රතනං
පනීතං ඒතේන
සච්චේන සුවත්තියෝතු යානිද භූතානි සමාගතානි බුම්මානි වායානි වන්තලික්කේ තථාගතං දේව
මනුස්ස පූජිතං
බුද්ධං නමද්දාම සුවත්තියෝතු යානිද භූතානි සමාගතානි බුම්මානි වායානි
තරික්ඛේ
තථාගතං දේව මනුස්ස පූජිතං ධම්මං නමස්සාම සුවත්තියෝතු යානිද භූතානි සමාගතානි බුම්මානි
අනිවායානිව
අන්තලි පටික්ඛේ තථාගතං දේව මනුස්ස භෝජිතං සංඝං නමස්සාම දුවාත්ති හෝතු ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන සබ්බ දුක්ඛං
විනාශතු ඒතේන
සච්ච වජ්ජේන සබ්බ භයං විනාශතු ඒතේන සච්ච වජ්ජේන සබ්බ රෝගෝ විනාශතු සබ්බීතියෝ විවජ්ජන්තු සබ්බ රෝගෝ
විනාශතු මාතේ භවත්වං
ත්වංතරායෝ සුඛී දීඝායුකෝ භව භවතු සබ්බ මංගලං රක්ඛන්තු සබ්බ දේවතා සබ්බ බුද්ධානුභාවේන
සදා
සොත්ති භවන්තු තේ භවතු සබ්බ මංගලං රක්ඛන්තු සබ්බ දේවතා සබ්බ ධම්මානුභාවේන
සදාසොත්ති
භවන්තු තේ භවතු සබ්බ මංගලං රක්ඛන්තු සබ්බ දේවතා සබ්බ සංඝානුභාවේන සදා සොත්ති භවන්තු තේ. May all you be well, happy and peace. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now it is time for a Dhamma talk, and cordially I would like to invite Kondan Hamdru, please give a Dhamma talk.
Okay. Well, children, to begin the Dhamma talk, let us all of us together say Namo Tassa another 3 times. Okay, all of you who are here nearby and who are far away, together with me, please recite Namo Tassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Arogya Paramalabha Santutti Paramang Dhanang Vissasa Paramanyati Nibbanang Paramang Sukhang Ti. Dear Venerable Mahasangha, including Venerable Dhammajyoti and all the resident monks, and dear friends of Dhamma, today you are participating in this annual blessing service held at the New York Buddhist Vihara just before the beginning of new semester. This has become a tradition to hold this blessing service, wishing well-being, success, protection and happiness to the children who go back to school. So just before going back to school, we all come together and do this offering. Today's this ceremony and the blessing service, this is sponsored by New York Buddhist Vihara Dhamma School children and teachers and those parents, and also youth society members of New York Buddhist Vihara. And also this time, from far, they are joined together with us. Connecticut Buddhist Vihara devotees and Dhamma School children are also participating in this blessing service today. So, since I used to remind you certain stories, just to share stories, because I thought all Dhamma school children like to listen to the stories and they remember them. That's how I remember the Dhamma, through the stories. So going with the same tradition, we were sharing stories. Of course, those are very valuable Dhamma stories that all of you are learning from. And I believe all of you have been, even though you do not have, you are not going to school, still you are participating in these Dhamma activities weekly, and you learn those Dhamma stories and the Dhamma through via social media that we have. So I recited a Gatha this time. Previous time, I think I remember what I was talking to you. Once I was talking to you about 5 precepts and how important they are. I believe last time I was talking about the Buddha and his perfections. Buddha and perfections that he performed to be the Buddha and why he did them. So I was sharing importance of those perfections. Today I thought, since all of us are confined to our homes, being unable to go out, we had no school, and all of you are at home participating in your education, being in school via the Zoom or some other connections. That is how you were studying since last March. So I think some of you maybe, if you really had no patience, that could have been very difficult time for you to take part in this, just to be at home, because we normally during the summer time we travel and we look for a change, go away from home and enjoy your time. But this year you do not have that much of enjoyment piece. But I believe still you were thinking of the Buddha, thinking of the Dhamma that he taught. We had some kind of solace, some kind of peace in your mind, reflecting on the Dhamma. So today, why we couldn't go out was that due to COVID-19. I think not only us, around the world, people were experiencing this COVID-19, and it was not easy, not comfortable for anybody. Everybody going through this difficulties, experiencing difficulties. And so I think you notice, you still remember, this tiny virus damaged many lives, and many people became victims of it. Sometimes it didn't look at the status of anybody. We know one of the vice president in Middle Eastern area, he passed away. We know in England, Prime Minister became a victim of it. And Prince Charles became victim of it. There are many people, regardless of their status, they became victim of this virus. And this is a very tiny virus, but it could damage many. And many lives were lost. So you can see how dangerous it is. But this kind of pandemic were there during the Buddha's time too. In the history, there are many times those things were repeated. But it gave us an opportunity to reprogram, to think again, just to reflect on the things that we do. Are we doing the right thing? It gave us opportunity, stop and do it, reflect on again. So that is for us to think very carefully. Now, At the beginning, I recited a gatha taught by the Buddha. Arogya paramalabha santutti paramangdanam vissasa paramanyati nibbanam paramang sukham. So Buddhahamdu knew. Buddhahamdu, there's another name for him. Bhaisajja Guru. Bhaisajja means what? Bhesajja. Medicine. Guru is teacher. Teacher of medicine. What was the medicine that he taught? His medicine was Dhamma osada samangnati. Dhamma is the medicine. So Dhamma, if we learn Dhamma and practice it, that medicine is really good for us to live very healthy way. We know that everybody gets sick. Physical sickness and also mental sickness. Buddhahamnu spoke about two kinds of sickness. Medical sickness, so physical sickness as well as mental sickness. So he taught us the way to live very healthy, physically as well as mentally. So he spoke many different places. I think one of the discourses I like to remind you is Girimananda Sutta. There he talks about many sicknesses. I like to share with those certain names of those sicknesses later on as time pass by, what comes in that particular discourse, why he taught them. But according to that Gatha that I recited, what he mentioned was Arogya Paramalabha. Paramalabha. What is this? What does that mean? Greatest gain or profit. Business person always looking for profit making. We don't like to do business without making profit. Sometimes we may make profit or sometimes we may not. But so we have to choose what could be the greatest gain or the profit that we can make. We have to choose. Sometimes we may be thinking, money can do everything, so therefore we should have money. If we have money, we may be able to buy things, whatever we wish. But Buddha didn't say that. We all want to be successful. When we think of success, we always think about money. How much money we can make. Or maybe sometimes we can, if we have money, we can buy gold, we can buy silver, or else we can buy gemstones, sapphires, all kinds of, there are names. So diamonds. So there are, in Manhattan, there's a diamond district. People, when they have plenty of money, they go and buy. As their property, they want to make it, and they collect them. Just to show your wealth. I'm a wealthy person. Or else maybe you may be buying properties, houses, so that boosts your status. You may be doing so. But Buddhahamdru, in his way of thinking, he said, no matter how much money we have, what wealth we have, yet what's the point if we're getting sick and suffer from sicknesses? Right? Think of it. What happened to all those wealthy people? If they didn't use the precautionary measures, they could have got sick, no matter how much they have, how much money they have. So therefore, Buddhahamdru, according to Buddha's teaching, not the money, not the wealth that we have, greatest gain could be the good health. Having good health, we could be very happy. So everybody was around the world, people were who really saw this danger of this tiny virus, COVID-19, everybody was living in fear. So Buddha had taught us how to live safely. In his teaching, there are so many things that we be mindful, that is the key. Right? Key is for us, for our protection is the mindfulness. So being mindful, so we have to be wearing mask, and we have to wash our hands. We have to remember where we live, how much distance we have to keep, and what precautionary measures we have to take. So when we follow all those methods, even for you, all of you children, I believe some of you maybe start going to schools on 21st, and when you go to schools, your teachers, so your school authorities may be guiding you. You have to be listen very carefully to all those instructions, and you have to obey to them. You have to follow them if you go there. Not to get sick, not to bring sickness back home. Not only you are getting sick, you also bring sickness back home and spread it to other people. So I have to be very mindful. I am not going to get sick, or I am not going to spread it to other people around me. So that determination is very compassionate, so that you have to keep in your mind. Keeping in your mind, if you go to school, these things you have to really follow very carefully. That way, you will not become victim, or you will not make victims of your family members. So therefore, you have to be very mindful. Very mindfully practice what you have learned, what Buddha had taught you, and what Dhamma, from Dhamma school, what you have learned you, and your instructions from your teachers. Because Buddha said, always listen carefully to your parents and to your teachers. So if you follow that, you can live very safe. So we have, as Buddhist children, you have learned safety measures and you are keeping with them. You are practicing them. Practice is very important in everyday life, every good thing that you learn. So that is the greatest gain or profit that we can make. Arogya Paramalabha. Good health is the greatest wealth or greatest gain or the greatest profit you can make. So the meaning of the other part of this, the Gatha is Santutti Paramang Dhanam. What is the greatest wealth that we can make or achieve? Santutti, contentment. You have to learn to be satisfied, content. You have to be really content with what you have, what you gain, what you get from your parents. So if you're demanding things, you will be never a person who can be satisfied. If you are not satisfied person, you are not contented. So that keeps always worrying you. Unsatisfied. We all have so many of desires, right? We have so many desires and looking for so many, demanding for so many things. But if you could be satisfied with what you get, what your parents give you, what your teachers are giving, sharing with you, those things, so you will learn to be contented. Contentment is the greatest happiness that you can get. And Vissasa Paramanyati, the person who's trustworthy person, is the greatest kinsman that you can get, that you can have. If there's no trustworthy person, we always live in fear, suspicious. We don't know if this person is going to do any kind of harm. So therefore, we always live in that fear. So we have to be, if you practice Dhamma and if you always have compassionate thoughts, if you are a very compassionate being, that helps you to be a nice person. So we have trust. We are never lying. So, 5 precepts, so we always practice as Buddhists. Those principles we live by those principles, and you are a trustworthy person. And also if you are never lying, so definitely you are good among your friends, and we always have trust. Oh, he never lies. He's a good child. He's a good friend. So we know him. So once we know each other, that help us to build up that trust. So that's very important. Nibbanang paramang sukhang, greatest pleasure or the sukha, comfort that we can have is nibbana, peace of mind. So definitely, to earn that peace, we have to live by the teaching, slowly building up our strength in the Dhamma, our understanding in the Dhamma, that help us to be happy, be at peace. So those are the important teachings comes in that according to the Gatha. Now, what do we have to do? Just listening to Dhamma is not going to help us to be a healthy person. What are the things that we have to do? That is what we have to look at. Children, by wishing health, good health would not come. So Buddha mentioned in one of the discourses, we are always wishing for it, but not just wishing we can gain the good health. We cannot get beauty by wishing for it, but we have to practice. How can we practice? So we have to be mindful. As I mentioned earlier, we have to be mindful of what we are doing, what we are eating. See, our senses, very important. We have 5 senses. So there are demands for 5 senses. So stay as a healthy person. How can we get sick? By listening can we get sick? By smelling things can we get sick? By seeing things can we get sick? By tasting things can we get sick? By touching can we get sick? There are many things can happen. By seeing, we may believe we may not get sick. But sometimes, suppose now you are demanding, so that I need that one. Amma, I want to buy this one. So if you, without understanding, you think it's a need, but in reality, what you want to do is you want to satisfy your demand of your eye. You saw something, you want it. That's a desire, it's not a need. You can live without things. But when you're demanding, if you're crying for it, what happens until your parent buys it? What are you doing? You're crying and crying and crying. You become cranky. What happens? That is a way of, in a way it is sick. Mind gets sick. Your mind is demanding. Mentally you are sick. It's not your need. You can live without it. But if you are demanding for it, so that is really wrong view. You perceive something wrongly. What we call as miccha ditti. Wrong understanding. So therefore you are crying for it, demanding from your parents that something is not necessary. But you are very unhappy. If you are not happy, there's no health. Right? Think about it. Either what you hear, also something similar to that. If you are demanding your desire to please, then what happens is you try to satisfy getting something. So this may be not the time to go out and buy things. Right? On the other way, let's see our smelling. If you smell something not necessary, right? Sniffing things. There are people who really get high, they do sniff things. Substance. Abusing substance, you can get sick too. Especially we have to be careful, those are outside things, but every day we keep eating, consuming our food. So what Buddha said was, Buddha advised us, Bhojanamita mattanyo. We should know the appropriate amount of eating. Right? We should know how much is going to be good for us. All of your children at home, when you are, parents are, of course, they are providing you good food. But you should know, you shouldn't be complaining it. Remember, we satisfy with what we get. With the satisfaction, they provide their best for you to grow up as a healthy child. When they are doing that, so without complaining, we sitting with a very disciplined way, we are sitting and eating, not walking around and eating, right? Not crying and eating. With the discipline, we are sitting and beautifully sitting and you eat your food. So that is the way to eat, and Buddhahamru reminded us. And also we don't eat overeating, right? I'm talking to children here and there both. So all of you have to remember, what you eat, overindulgence could make you sick. Can it be? Yes. So it may be sick at your stomach. And also, we are looking for taste. Sometimes maybe you are eating ice cream, demanding for this taste or that taste. So, Buddhahamru advise us, especially for monks, we have some advice. We must be eating third portions. One quarter we always have to keep empty. Buddhahamru guided us. So 1/4 of our stomach should be empty. We can drink water and fill it up with that. So that is the healthy way according to Buddhahamru. Otherwise, what happened? We get sick. Even the Gatha that I was recited, shared with you before, that I was explaining, was taught by the Buddha in that kind of situation. There used to be one of the powerful kings in India during Buddhahamru's time. There were 16 states in India. Now here in America they have so many states, right? How many? 50? Similarly, India, those days they had 16 states. Now they have 29 states. Out of those 16 states, there are 4 powerful states. So those 2 powerful states were Kosala and Magadha. Vatsa, Kosala, Magadha, Avanti. These are the 4 states, very powerful. Out of those, the Kosala and Magadha was very related to Buddha's life. Buddhahamru was in Magadha. That's where Vihara state is today. That's where he became enlightened being, under the Bodhi tree, both guys there. And he lived many years, many rainy seasons in Kosala state. Jetha Grove is in Kosala state, which is close to today's Kapilavastu. So, as Buddhahamru was living there, King Kosala, very powerful, one of the powerful kings, one day, he came just after his meal. He came to visit the Buddha. And he sat down. Sitting down there, what happened to him? So he had so much suffering. So he turned this way and turned that way, move, and he, fall asleep and snoring, and so much difficulty. He was sitting there. Buddha saw this. Then he asked Maharaja, or the king, what is the difficulty that you have? Then he said, I just came just after my meal, so I had difficulty. Maybe I had overeating. So without much paying attention, he was eating this and that, and in the story it says he ate so much. He really ate so much. And Buddhahamru guided him to eat less. Slowly, what happened is, so every day he lets eat one handful of food. Next day, when when food is prepared, he always have to reduce that amount of food that he keeping away each day. By doing so, slowly he could manage himself. So he was not, really heavy guy afterwards. Eating rice that much is making you sick. So that king had built up his discipline listening to Buddha. By developing his discipline, he got back to his good health. One day he came and said, "Now I can run, follow even a deer." So that much comfort he gained through reducing his eating, his consumption of food. So it's very important. So we must know how much should I eat. Because of the taste, searching for taste, if you keep eating, feeding, without, making the balance. So what happens to us? We get sick. So this is a very important thing that Buddha taught. So we all should be mindful as we, this happened here too, right? Can you see one of the difficulties, one of the sicknesses that we have in this country, what? Obesity. Obesity is the one of the sicknesses that people are experiencing. So, without control, without discipline, having your meal or eating things make you sick. So, all of us, people nearby here and far away there, also everybody has to be really mindful for what you are eating. What discipline you have with your meal. So that's very important. So Buddha taught us that. And so we have to be really understand this and practice. Now I like to read what are the sicknesses that you hear sometimes in the discourses. So Buddha was among teachings. Of course he mentioned, we can live without sickness for 100 years, physical sickness maybe 100 years, but Buddha says in the teachings, at least we all have weaknesses in our mentally. In the Anguttara Nikaya he mentioned, Sabbe putujjana ummattaka. All worldly beings are in a certain way, we are ummattaka means confused mind. We live with confusion. So that happens to us. So therefore Dhamma is teaching us, helping us to realize this nature, and by learning. So I told you that Buddha has another name, Bhaisajja Guru, teacher of medicine. So he has given us medicine in every way. So Dhamma is the medicine that is shared. In the Dhamma, we all have these teachings. So how do we get sick? There are many ways. There are 8 factors that Buddha mentioned. So let me share with you what they are. So this is what he mentioned in the sutra. There are certain diseases originating from phlegm, right? Wind, and from conflict of the humors, from changes of weather, from adverse condition of faulty deportment, from device practiced by others, from kamma vipaka, results of kamma, and cold, heat, hunger, thirst, and see, we hear that. So adults, you parents must have heard Pitta Samuttana Abada, Semma Samuttana Abada, Vata Samuttana Abada, Sannipatika Abada, Utuparinamaja Abada. All these things are sicknesses, abada, diseases. But there's a list of whole, names that what we have today even. Sometimes you may not have heard. So, knowing these things, Buddhahamru always encourage us to be mindful. Living mindfully, we can avoid all these kinds of sicknesses. Of course, if they are something, this is why when the cold weather comes and even the weather changes, what happens? We get sick. Adjusting our body into that weather conditions, so there's pains, and even though we cannot see, that cold weather or the warm weather could be affecting our whole body system. Sometimes maybe these bones could be the expanding or contracting. So with that, pains takes place. So therefore, before that, and here they give flu shots, not to get sick. So all these things are, Buddha saw these things. How, Utuparinama Jabada, change of seasons could make you sick. Buddha knew that too. That's 2600, almost 2600 years before. Knowing it, Buddha was guiding us. So here, you are not going out with light jackets like today, t-shirts. In the t-shirts, if you go out winter, you will definitely get sick. So appropriately, we have to choose our, material that we wear. Either if it is to, hot season or cold season, accordingly, we have to wear our the clothing. Choose the appropriate clothing. So therefore, we have to be mindful. Buddha knew all these things, knowing that he was teaching and he was guiding us. So that comes, what I'm saying, all these sicknesses, if you know the discourse called Girimananda Sutta, you can listen to that whole list of sicknesses that people go through. Even Buddha's time, there were cancer and things like that. And so knowing it, and there were medicine at that time, they did, and especially we had to guide ourselves mentally and physically not to get sick. So taking appropriate measures, we definitely, all of us can stay away from all the sicknesses. Do not invite sick, especially now all of you have to be mindful of this, especially at this time. We all have to be mindful of COVID-19 and being mindfully, learning these, the good habits and practicing them. You have to stay away from all kinds of sicknesses that we could get through. And so Buddha mentioned Dhammo sada samangnati, from learning Dhamma, applying it in our daily life. So there's no medicine other than, of course, nowadays we have so many medicine, doctors are, prescribing to you, so you maybe, get them. But for Buddha, in the Buddha's teaching, so lifestyle is we have to adjust ourselves. And eating habits, so daily, our rituals of how you do things and precautionary measures that we are learning today, and all those things should be part of our precautionary measures and stay healthy. And if you do not pay attention, definitely, we have so many things that you have learned and your parents are teaching, your teachers are teaching, and all those things you have to be take into consideration and practice. As you do that, you can stay as a very healthy person. So, and you can get even sometimes like the King Kosala, as he was not paying attention, he was just seeking, becoming greedy and going for food, overindulgence. He became a sick person. With the help of Buddha's guidance, he became a healthy person. So remember that as an some very important story, how King Kosala became healthy, why he was sick, and without control he was indulging his taste buds. So we should not, as children, if Amma and Tata says not to go for overeating or too much sweet. So eating too much sweet, what happens? So you have to do what you have to do. You have to have exercises too. Dear Buddha also guided us how to practice exercises. As monks we were walking. Today they appreciate it, right? Every doctor is asking you to walk. Just sitting there you get sick. By sitting every day for longer time, that is not healthy. So your doctors may be asking you to just go for a walk. And many of us do that. If you don't do other exercises, other workouts, so definitely at least you must be walking for 2 miles a day. 2-3 miles would be very healthy way to do that. I know as children, if you happen to go to school, you may have gym time and you may be learning something, you may have that. But especially when the winter time comes, you may be a little bit lazy. But if you are not even going to school, where do you do that? You have to find a way to do that. You have to get to stay healthy. Otherwise, just eating food, that doing some exercise, it helps you to digest it. Otherwise, what are we doing is inviting our sicknesses. So you have to be very careful and very mindful. Being mindful, we can stay healthy. Buddha taught us this. So he told the monks, so go for a walk. Chankamana. So monks are always, that's the reason why they keep going, collecting food rounds. That's also kind of, they get their food and also they get their exercise during the Buddha's time. But we cannot do it here now. So if after consumption of food or some time in our daily, we have to have a schedule. Even morning or evening, we can go for a walk. So that would keep us healthy. So all these good habits we have to develop. Good habits are to develop, bad habits are to let go. As we do that, we may be able to be a healthy person. So we can gain that good health, arogya paramalabha. Then we can gain the greatest gain or the profit. This is the profit. If we get sick by eating, by sitting, having wrong lifestyle, we all can get. And also having wrong clothings and the wrong seasons. So that everything should be matching. Everything should be appropriate for the time that we live in. So therefore, all of us keep that in mind, our lifestyle, eating, clothing, our exercises, and also our 5 sense management. 5 senses should be managed. If we may be demanding for wrong things, unnecessary things, thinking that we need them. We don't need them. Those are your wants. That's why you are demanding them. And also let go of certain things. I know some of you have games, right? Many games you are keeping and you are just becoming very selfish. Don't share with your sister or the brother. So just even that, conditioning your mind in that such a way is not healthy either. That's a part of sickness. So we have to learn, let go of things that we have. So that way we can balance our mind, we can balance our body. Understand? Yes? So that we have to keep our balance. If we are not balanced with what we do and what we see, what we hear, all these 5 senses should be managed. So Buddha taught this. We see things and demanding them. So we should not. You have to question yourself, do I really need it? So ask that question. Do I really need this food? Or do I really need that toy that I see? Do I really need that things, that advertisement that I see? Ask that question. Do I really need it? Or is that my want? Is that my desire asking me to own it or get it? So you have to figure it out. You have to discuss with your parents. I saw this kind, really do I need it? I like it. Because you are, in the commercial world is, of course, they are preparing, even you, as you grown up child, maybe if you do your business major, finance major, sometimes when you go to your high school, when you go to college, you may be doing those things. But what you are preparing illusionary advertisings so that you can, attract the other people. That's the nature of business. But we have to be mindful, asking question, do I really need it? So that way you can protect yourself. So that way you can, discipline yourself. Discipline is very important thing. This is what we do by, basic principles. 5 principles are your basic, discipline. Beyond that, you can always ask questions, and can I live without it, or do I really need it? If you question, not just as you see the advertisement, you go and ask your parents to buy it. That is not the way. So, being mindfully, applying things that you learn, and your application of your demands, your desires, and with the Dhamma, then really you can see it and you can guide yourself, you can discipline yourself. That way it would be helping you to, balance and maintain, build up your discipline, and that could be the greatest blessing that you have. So, I think this, especially remember the story of King Kosala, how much he ate and how he disciplined himself. Slowly, little by little. He used to a few kilos of rice. It's a lot, too much. So when he went luckily he went at that time, and Buddha saw it, noticed it, and Buddha asked questions, and he helped him to, train himself. When you become a slave to your emotions, that's what happened to King Kosala. Even though he's the ruler of the country, even though he had all these facilities, things that he owned, so he overindulged them. He did not know how to control his senses. Without knowing, he was just supplying the demand of his senses. He became a slave to his emotions, and he fed himself too much. But when he went to Buddha in that time, just after his meal, he became like that. He became very sick. He behaved very sickly behavior. He was feeling very tired. Then he mentioned to it to Buddha. Then Buddha said, King, so you can slowly reduce yourself, your amount of your eating. That will bring back you your good health. So as he mentioned, he did it. He listened to the Buddha's advice as he guided, and he practiced that behavior, changed his behavior. That made him a very strong, healthy person. So it goes with you too. It goes with all of us. So managing yourself, managing senses, and disciplining, learning how to discipline it, and balancing your emotions and your senses. So that really make him very healthy. So you can read that story of the King Kosala, or else maybe Arogya Paramalabha. The Gatha is very beautiful Gatha, so you can learn it and you can remember it, so you can get the help of that, change to your own behavior if you have those behaviors difficulties. So according to Gatha, what happened? Arogya Paramalabha Santutti Paramangdanang. So contentment. We have to learn to be contented. Paramadhana, greatest wealth, that could be the greatest wealth. And Vissasa Paramanyati, practicing right things, especially practicing 5 basic principles. You are a trustworthy person, you have good friends around you. And Nibbanam Paramansukam, by all these good practices, what happened to you? You will be leading towards, you will be guiding towards the realization of Dhamma. So that is what we all should keep in our mind. Dhamma osada samangnati. Dhamma is the medicine. There's no medicine other than the Dhamma that will help us to heal ourselves spiritually as well as mentally as well as physically, and material as well as spiritually. So that way we can balance our lives and spiritual life as well as material well-being. So this way that would help us to really go into the practice of Dhamma and attain the realization of this Dhamma. So attainment it takes time. So therefore, I hope you understand what I was sharing this evening. There could be many more. I suggest you to read. Go to, whoever can read it, you can go to tripitaka.lk. From that you can find all the sutras and simple Sinhala. And if you want to go to other sutras, you can go into English section called access to insight. There you can choose this Girimananda Sutta. Remember, in the Girimananda Sutta, you can see all the list of sicknesses during the Buddha's time. So if any of you want to be really nursing on the health field, if any of you looking at to study in the direction of health, being doctor, being nurse, anybody who is in any profession regarding the health. So you can see those sicknesses during the Buddha's time, what they had. There are a list of names. I'm not going to share with you right now at this time, but there are things like, for example, he is maybe different from today's world. He mentioned that many are the sufferings. So this is how he said, many are the sufferings, many are the disadvantages or the dangers of this body, since diverse diseases are engendered in this body, such as the following: eye disease, ear disease, nose disease. You heard it: chakkurogo, ghanarogo, chakkurogo, sotarogo, ghanarogo, jivarogo. In this, likewise, it mentioned. These are the things that they translated into this: nose diseases, tongue diseases, body diseases, headache, mumps, mouth diseases, toothache, cough, asthma, catarrh, heartburn, fever, stomach ailment, fainting, dysentery, swelling, grips, leprosy, boils, scrofula, consumption, epilepsy, ringworm, itch, eruption, tetter, pustule, and plethora, diabetes, piles, cancer, fistula. See how many names are there? You maybe not know even today. There are this many diseases during Buddha's time. So your behavior is, when you are sick, your behavior is very important to get healed. So therefore, during this COVID-19, all of you children has to really be mindful. Key is the mindfulness. Being mindful, remembering advices. So you have to behave such a way to not to get contaminated, not to get infected, and live healthy. So watch what you eat, watch what you drink, and all these things could be helping you to stay healthy. So if 21st of this month you're going to start your school, if you go to school or if you're being still at home, whatever the way you are dealing with it, so you have to, very important for you to be as a healthy child. So that you are being healthy, you are also making other people who are around you to stay healthy. So that's very important. So that way you can be a person who is having this arogya paramalabha, greatest gain of good health as the greatest health. So, reminding you that I will stop here, and I suggest if you have any kind of questions, you always can write. Go to website, New York Buddhist Vihara website, and guide it is so the monks, one of us can help you to understand it. So, feel free always to ask questions and write to address those questions and what Buddha had mentioned to us. These are very important. No, Dhamma has all these answers to the questions for us to stay healthy. So that is bottom line. So having said these things, so I'd like to share this merit with everybody who participates, especially share the merit with Dhamma school children and teachers and youth society members, Connecticut Buddhist Vihara and devotees and Dhamma school children who took part in this. May all of you be able to stay healthy during this, time period by practicing the Dhamma, learning and sharing the Dhamma, being mindful. May you all be able to have good health, prosperity, along with happiness and success of your education. Wishing so. Let us share the merit with Devas now together with me who are here. May the Devas rejoice this wellness, the good merit that we received, good merit that we developed by observing precepts and the offering pujas, thinking of virtuousness of the Buddha, and listening to the Dhamma short while. All these things are generating good merit. May all these merits be shared with the Devas, and may they attain peace and happiness of Nibbana. Having such thoughts in your mind, please recite the gathas together with me. Akasattha ca bummattha deva naga mahiddhika punyang tang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu loka sasanam. Akasattha ca bummattha deva naga mahiddhika punyang tang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu desanam. Akasattha ca bummattha deva naga mahiddhika punyang tang anumoditva chirang rakkhantu mang parang. Etthavata ca amhehi sambhatang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabbe sattha anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Same way, may all this merit that we develop today by coming to temple and participating in this evening puja and listening to chanting and listening to Dhamma, whatever the wholesomeness we develop, be shared with our all departed relatives. If there are any relative or any being expecting any kind of spiritual help, may they rejoice this wholesomeness. May they all attain ultimate peace and happiness of Nibbana. Having such thoughts in your mind, please recite the Gatha to share the merit of our departed relatives. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. So, now to make an aspiration, all of us coming together, participating in this blessing service today, observing precepts, being in virtuous ground, you took part in this, in a wholesome foundation. We make the offerings to Buddha, thinking of his virtuousness. We listen to Dhamma that he shared with us, he guided in our lives. So this way we develop our wholesomeness, and may all these merit cause to us to have very peaceful life. So as we do recite, you remember now, by the virtuousness of this merit, until we realize Nibbana, may we always have good Kalyana Mittas who help us in samsaric life, and may we all be able to attain ultimate peace and happiness of Nibbana. Having such aspiration in your mind, please recite the Gatha to do the Patana or the aspiration. Imina punya kammene mami bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya idang me punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamunchatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May all these merit be shared with our monks as well as the old Dhamma school children. May all of them be very healthy, and may all of us may have strength and courage to, resolve our school activities very carefully and nicely during our new school semester. Okay? So, having such thoughts in your mind, now you all have to receive the blessings.
Again, I would like to give our heartful thanks toward Konyan Hamdru on behalf of all the temples and all children and all of our Dayaka. And Konyan Hamdru has given a very great and very nice and very valuable Dhamma talk, how great our healthiness is, healthy is. And so, again, I would like to share and transform it toward our Hamdru. May we be well, happy and peace and have a longevity. Thank you very much, Hamdru.
Abhivadana silissa niccang vaddha pachayino chattaro dhamma vaddanti ayuvanno sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti minate samijjatu. හොඳයි. එහෙනම් බොහෝම පිං. පොඩි ළමයි, if you have any questions, rightly ask. Always it's nice for you to discuss Dhamma with the Bhantes, so you can write to them.